No, I don't. Do I have to do
By
that?
the river.
Okay. You're throwing that at me now. Okay,
You'll get
hang
it
on.
By the time you listen to it, you'll get it.
Welcome to Grandma's Attic Music Review. I am not Dot, but I'm thrilled to be here. She graciously asked me to fill in today. She could not be here. She'll definitely be here for the next show, but I am so thrilled that I get to spend some time with all of you out there and the guests that I'm about to introduce you to. You know, the 80s were a big time in New London and all over, but I think especially around this area. The Towers of New London is in its fourth year and coming back strong, and this is a band that is a very big part of that. We're going to talk to them a little later. First, we're going to get to hear some great songs. I've been treated to the sound check, and I can tell you when a sound check sounds that good, we're in for something terrific. So we'll talk to them later, but I want to introduce them now because they've got some great songs to play for us. So without further ado, let's welcome to Grandma's Attic Music Review, the Whales.
ride through the Lou and Turk by the river. Oh, 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 by the river. Oh, oh, by the river. Big trucks roll on down the streets by the river. If you're alert, there's no need to quiver. You know who you'll be. Who knows who you'll see? Come on and get yourself free by the river. Let's go down and kick off your shoes by the river. The music there will chase away your blues by the river. Oh, 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 by the river, 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 yeah. Oh, 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 by the river, 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 yeah. Oh, 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 by the river. Thank you. That was By the River. This one's called Still Standing.
When I was just a little boy, 9 years old, never did what made me smile, and I always did what I was told. So I hit the sweet 16, and I drove off to see like a fine. Smashed my car, slid up, kept my license, lost my mind, and I'm still standing. Got my ticket there, took my train to go. I'm stuck in the bed. Met a girl named Sweet Morphine, and I learned a thing or two in guitar. Couldn't use to set me free from the Rosin man waiting in the park. Now I'm a man over 21. My house been trash burned and broke. I'm surprised at the all these years. I can't see people carrying in the smoke that I'm still standing. Got my 2 feet there, took my chance and fall. I'm stuck with the best. Tried to sneak away, but I had no luck. What I got today, yes, I must have been singing it off guitar. Yeah, I'm still standing. Got my 2 feet left. Took a chance and all the rest. I'm stuck with the best. I'm still standing. Got my 2 feet left. Took a chance with all the rest. And I'm stuck with the best.
Still standing. it up. Is okay when what we had before it seemed okay. We worked our asses off to get the things that we need. Can't be happy with just a human being. Alright. Can't stop when we're in the middle, at the bottom or in between. We want the time. Used to share oh no property, but now we're rather scared. Do what's best for me. Spoil the fun in life for the next generations. 'Cause to some of us, Mother Earth is no relation. Well, alright. Can't stop when we're in the middle, at the bottom or in between. We want the time. We always want the time, but no, I'd rather be a hunter-gatherer. They only had to work 3 hours a day. They never made a farm, only made children. Oh, the word war, they couldn't even say it. So come on, people, hear what I say. Back to the Kalahari. Hunter-gatherer. Feel kinda tired. I haven't done enough sleeping. Nutrition. Have you got a vitamin? Start to shake. Need a vitamin because I can't look away. There's water soluble and there's fat soluble. more dip in the road. Anytime is alright, and any dose is okay. Living through twice, USA. And you got a vitamin, I'm starting to shake. Vitamin because I can't get away. Because I can't get away.
I want to be a lonely old man, just left alone. So I'm doing the best I can to make my heart a home. You know, I usually look for myself some responsibility, but you say I'll end up on the shelf and too cross-eyed to see. But I'm trying to open my eyes, I'm trying to see into the promised land, trying to make me realize I'm just trying to understand. It's a drag when the longing gets like it does, and I'm tired to play this guitar. But I had to keep on trying because that longing can take you far. It's when I start breaking down and I'm ready to give it a risk. Till my parts get scattered around and my hand turns to a fist. But I'm trying to open my eyes, I'm trying to see into the promised land, trying to make me realize I'm just trying as hard as I can. Sun, but the problems we produce will keep my fancy on the run. So I try to hold up my heart to a crystal in the sky. Then the snow turns to slush, and I've got to ask the season why. guess I got the next one too. Go.
Movie star.
I wish I had the kind of job where I could just smile, make a lot of money, just a little while. I know what it takes. I know I could be the one who just stands here and combs his hair, get the job done. 'Cause I'd be great and I'd go far, and you might close for in a rented car, and I'd let you guess what my values are. If I were a Hollywood movie star, wouldn't be hard for me to learn what I'm all about. I just come up here on the screen and act murders out. And I wouldn't have to talk over my problems with friends. I know everything would just work out when the movie ends. 'Cause I'd be great and I'd go far, and you might glimpse me in a rented car, and I'd let you know what my values are. If I were a Hollywood movie star. I get hate mail asking me why I'm such a jerk. I didn't think it's just a fringe benefit of my kind of work. I'd sign autographs, get fan nailed to those good things I wouldn't last. When I got those letters, you know I would never write them back. I'd be great and I'd go far. You might glimpse me in a rented car, and I'd let you guess what my values are. If I were a Hollywood movie star, here we go.
How do they stop on time? This one's called Look Out For You, and we're going to dedicate it to Dot. Dot, we want you to get well soon.
Go on town, turn these lives upside down. You can make the people stare and make them act as if you care. If you do, won't you do this to look out for yourself? Help you as well. Help yourself. No one else. Look out for you. Drink expensive alibis. Keep on acting so uncouth and say you testify the truth. If you do, better do this to look out for yourself. Well, to there's help. Up for yourself. No one else. Look out for you. us. If you do, gonna do this, do look out for yourself. Up to greatest hell, up to yourself. No one else. Look out for you. Look out
Go. For you.
Oh, my turn?
We're still the Whales. We're going to have our drummer Billy play this one. Little water. It's getting hot in here. Must be the music.
Oh, in the foyer.
It's hot enough for me.
Start it off, Wayne. When you sleep, when you sleep, when you sleep, when you sleep, you never hold me close to you. When you sleep, when you dream, when you dream, when you dream, you never call out my name. And I don't know what you're gonna say to me. When you finally left behind the nerve to leave. When you see me, when you see me, when you see me, when you see me, you never look into my eyes. When I think, when I think, when I think, when I think, it's funny how you don't mean that much to me. I was lost, I was lost, I was lost, I was lost, but now I'm found. And I don't know what you're gonna say to me. Gonna say to me. When I finally find the nerve to leave. And I don't know what I'm gonna say to you. Gonna say to you. When I finally find the nerve to
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right, now I get to talk to y'all. Thank you for that performance, first of all. Can you hear me okay? Thank you. You still have your hearing after all these years. Good to know. Let me start, let me stand over here so we can get everybody in the shot, if that works, if that's how we're going to do it. 1983 is when you all formed. Is that right?
It is.
It is. Now let me ask you this. Were you all living in New London? I mean, I hear this music and I'm picturing you're all kind of in an area, kind of hanging out all the time.
We never have all lived in the same town. Ever.
Really?
Ever.
Wow.
Westerly? The three of us lived
never
in
the
St.
whole
we were
band.
children,
Yeah.
but not since we formed a band.
Really?
Yeah.
Because my next question now, knowing that someone's in California, someone's in Boston, and you're playing and you sound so cohesive, how does that work? Does it all come back? I mean, do you have long spaces in between the times you play, or how does that work that you sound like this?
I think a lot of it is that we've played together a lot over the years, and I think that our music, I don't want to say it's simple, but it's organic, right? It kind of, the music grew up with us,
Yes.
so it comes out of us, so we don't have to reach that far to pull
Yeah.
it back. But
We only write songs we can play.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That
Right.
makes it easier to play.
Very cool.
Right.
You know, I hear strains of different things in your music, and I'm a girl that bleeds blue, so I do hear a little bit of the blues, of course, the harmonica. You know, I hear the 80s flair. My question, in all these different genres that I hear, is that reflective of your different styles bringing something to the table, and how this kind of, you know, turns into this gumbo of sound that's uniquely your own? Do you eat? I'm glad. Do you each bring something that you're passionate about to combine to this? Would you say that's fair, or how does that?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty diverse mix of
Yeah.
musical backgrounds. And since we learned to play at the same time and we were listening to these records at that time,
Yeah.
it influenced us. But we didn't want to sound like them. And even when we play other people's songs, we don't try to play it just like them. We put
Yeah.
our own, thing on it.
Make it your own.
And everybody's just different enough so that there's that tension to
Yeah.
come up with something different.
Now, you've played incredible stages. You play with incredible musicians. How often do you get back together? Now, you know, we're talking with the Towers of New London happening, the 4th year. But how often do you get to play out? I know we want to give out your website and where people can see you, but can you give us an idea of how many shows you're playing? Do you book gigs?
Have you heard that song, I've Been Everywhere, Man?
Oh, Johnny Cash, of course.
We haven't, but we've been
We happen to
we've
check
been
it.
around. So
All right.
Just before our lead guitarist passed away, he was making inroads in New York City.
Yeah.
For the last few years, we've been playing mostly in New York City
Yeah.
at the Sidewalk Cafe,
Yeah,
at
before the pandemic.
Bowery Electric,
Yeah.
Map Room,
Yeah.
a couple of places.
and it was our brotherhood of other
Yeah.
bands who were New York City bands
Yes.
when we were a band in the 80s, and they were all, their kids had grown up and they all still wanted to rock out. And so
Yeah.
it was like
It's a nice scene.
it was a very friendly, welcoming scene. It wasn't,
Yes.
when we were younger, it was competitive. We were
Yeah.
like, oh, that band's good. We got to be better than that. It's not that way anymore. It's everybody's just playing for the fun.
It was more competitive, but there was that camaraderie, and that's one thing I really liked about New London.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a late addition to the act, but I was in another band, the Clothespins, that was actually on the first compilation album, the first Towers of New London album
Wow.
that we played with. And, I got to know these guys a lot more in the last 3 or 4 years than I did back in the day. I mean, we barely knew each other.
Right.
We played together a few times.
Right.
Our bands did. But
Yeah. And that I'm glad you brought that up, because that was part of it. I know we were limited time, but I really want to mention, of course, I'd be so remiss if we didn't, of course, talk about Eddie. And now, Matt, you were, again, I guess it was a year ago or so, and this was right before, maybe 3 weeks before the Towers. So you were all getting together, and then this person that's been part of your life for probably, you can't remember life before Eddie.
Right.
Just about.
How incredibly jarring that must be, but how poignant maybe after a year. Now, Matt, you were coming in, so now,
Eddie invited me to join as a third guitarist.
Really?
So the first 2 shows I played were with Eddie.
wow.
Yeah, Eddie was all
Yeah.
into this whole, like he said, in the folk scene, people would join, they'd ask people to come up and play with them.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
said, we should do that. It kind of, when you have to let another musician play your music, you have to sit back and go, oh, what are they doing?
Yeah.
It adds a whole new dimension to it.
Right.
Yeah.
And Eddie was pushing that, and I was always kind of like, oh man, then they got to learn the song, and what if they blow it?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he was like, no, let's get, and it came out of that New York City thing.
Yeah.
We don't care about blowing it
He,
on stage.
he,
I was thinking that too. What if I
Keep
blow
playing
it?
louder, right? Just
Let's
louder.
keep smiling.
That's what
Yeah.
Well, the good thing is if one person makes a mistake, the other 3 are covering for them.
Yeah.
So it's like, you think about, oh, I hit the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Nobody in the audience hears it.
No.
We've always played extended jam sessions, so we never know where we're going to come out of it. So we're used to being very uncomfortable on stage.
Yeah.
Not knowing what's going to happen
Yeah.
next. So
We go out on an edge, and sometimes, I think what we found is the more you play together, the more you can play together, and so we're actually able to kind of just go into a different dimension where suddenly you're not thinking about what you're playing. You're listening to what everything else is going on and saying, now what should I do to get this to go somewhere else or to stay right where we are. It's like whenever you've been around people a long time, there's that comfort level of just being able to hang with them.
Yeah.
And that's what we do with our music. Is
Yeah.
we're hanging out. That's it's our way of staying in touch with each other and staying friends.
It's like Springsteen says, if you're thinking about what you're doing, you're not performing. So we've learned just to be listening to each other.
In the zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be in our old world, and it makes a better experience for the audience and for us.
Can I ask a little bit about writing?
Sure.
Do you have one member that is perhaps more prolific than another? Or I guess, where's the writing coming from? And also, is it ever a leap of faith, even at this point when you've been together so long, to bring something to the table, to think, to come with something that you think is terrific, and I don't know if they're going to...
I don't think you ever know a song's terrific until
Yeah.
you start playing it with other musicians.
Yeah.
And the songwriting process is so personal.
Yes.
You're all by yourself when you're doing it.
Yes.
And you're trying to not sound like another song. That's
Yeah.
half the battle is, I hope this doesn't sound like some other song.
We pretend it's terrific even if it's not. It helps play it better.
Again, you can make up for a lot of lacking skill with enthusiasm.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
And it
that's
certainly
And
served
you
me
look
well.
for
We've always
inspiration,
Yeah.
for a new song, and there's so much going on in the world. There's never, like we found when we came back after 25 years of being away, all our songs from the 80s were relevant because
Yeah.
of what was going on politically,
In the
in the
world.
last 4 or 5 years. It was just
Yeah.
like, we kind of went back to where we were protesting things in the 80s, and they came back again.
Absolutely.
Stuff that was irony is not irony anymore.
No, frighteningly so, frighteningly so. Let me ask a little bit about that. After a long hiatus, was there a catalyst to getting back together? I mean, what was the seed of that?
So what happened was, I hadn't talked to Eddie in a while.
Yes.
And I was in this trade association and had the opportunity to get a band to play at Infinity Hall in Hartford.
Yes.
A brand new $10 million club that
Yeah,
had just
yeah.
been built. And I mean, it's a fantastic stage. There's 2 sound men. And I said, well, I know some people in the trade association who can play, but I need a lead guitarist. So I called Eddie, and he didn't even have a guitar at that point in his life. He didn't tell me that
He
at
gave
the
up
time.
music altogether. He told me
Really?
threw everything in the dumpster, all his gear, record, everything.
Wow.
I'm done with music. Yeah.
Wow.
And so I brought him back in, and he was playing with total strangers other than me.
Yeah.
And we only played songs that we knew the audience would recognize. So
Yeah.
we picked, kind of familiar songs to us, but some new ones too.
Yeah.
And we had to practice for 6 weeks. The fun we had practicing for 6 weeks, Eddie was the one who said we should get the band back together. That was his idea.
Do you know how many wonderful things have been launched with just that sentence? We ought to get the band back together.
And we bought some sunglasses.
Yes. And an old beaten down police car,
Right.
and went on a mission from God.
Right.
Right? Yeah.
The rock god.
The rock God, absolutely.
We can only hope that we're in his presence when we play.
Oh,
We call on him, but we don't know
Yes.
if he's going to come until we play.
I bet his spirit is with you if he's not bothering, hanging out with Jimmy or Johnny Cash or any of those guys
Well,
or Janice.
I talked to Eddie's pastor.
Yes.
And he goes, Eddie's up there right now working a deal. That's what he said to me. And this is the pastor.
I love it.
So Eddie just had, no matter who you were, he was going to talk to you.
Yeah, yeah. Now, with the Towers of New London, is this an event that you make a point of hitting each year, and do you see that in the foreseeable future? I know it's.
Produce it, so they got to play.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So you've got them bound by contract.
That's right.
That's terrific. And we should give a shout out to, of course, the Hygienic, which it does, I see how you're representing with the shirt, which does so much for the music community and lifting all artists, of course.
It's just the best venue. It's so
Isn't it
awesome
so
playing.
cool? Now, when you all started, because the Art Park has been there, I'm not sure how many years.
Around 2000. 2000 started. I just found an old video that I transferred from VHS to digital.
Yes.
And I just viewed it like a few weeks ago, and it was the first show, the first hygienic art show at the new gallery. So that was right. I think it was the year 2000.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, with the Towers of New London, is this an event that's recorded? Will people be able to, if they happen to miss it?
Well, it was an album before it was a.
Well, yeah. Well, it comes from the compilation albums in the 80s. But the show itself is. All three previous shows have been live streamed by Matt Vallow. He's an amazing video producer, and he has 7 cameras, and he has a switcher. It's like this. He's editing. He's doing the switching as the show is being streamed.
Yeah.
And then we archive that, and then it goes up on the you can find all the shows on the Facebook page for Hygienic Art.
Okay.
This year we're not going to live stream, but are we going to do just single camera recording for
Terrific.
archives, and we'll archive that.
So
on
no one will be
YouTube
left
probably.
out.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that everyone knows whalesrockband.com, spelled out all the way, and that's where it's probably one of the best places to check out where you're going to be, to go back to archive things and follow you that way, would you say?
Yes.
Now, what about social media presence? Should people look for you out on Instagram or
We have,
Facebook?
we have a Facebook page.
social media?
Okay.
I believe Eddie started a
Yeah.
Instagram page. We got to find it.
Eddie, where is it?
Yeah, he's going to leave little
on.
crumbs maybe for you to find along the way.
The other thing too is
yes.
we're in the studio now recording again.
Yeah.
So we do want to make a shout out to John Quinn, who runs a studio up in Griswold, because he's been very supportive of the band.
Great. What is the name of his studio?
It's
Quinn
called
Music.
John Quinn Music.
John Quinn Music.
Yeah.
Terrific.
Fantastic. He's like a producer, musician,
Yeah.
and he's been very, very good for getting the sound of,
Yeah.
of the band.
And we're doing a song for a documentary about Captain Packard, who was swallowed by the whale in
2021.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's mixing it today, and we're going to release it to the filmmakers, and they're probably going to have it out on, where all those documentaries go, Netflix and
Wow.
whatever.
Well, I'm a big
So we're
fan
we're
of
hoping when they roll credits, our song of Captain Packard's Whale Tale will be playing
You
along.
never know. People might be just looking for it as
Yeah.
they roll. One other thing that I saw in some of your information here about vinyl. Clearly, you guys have a sweet spot for vinyl. When you talk about the new music that you're going to record, I know how cost prohibitive vinyl can be these days,
A
and
long waiting list to get your records pressed.
yes.
And now they're selling now machines you can press your own. So,
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So Brian Gore.
Yeah,
who's
you're
a-
looking
you'll
at
probably
you're
be
looking
doing
at a
that.
band
Yeah.
who made albums. We made a 45. We made a cassette.
Yeah.
And then we made CDs. So we've done it all. So now we're going
This is gonna
Spotify, and we're
Yeah.
going to go, jump into the digital media.
That way
Yeah.
we only get a penny a play instead of
And yeah.
$10
A
per
whole
record.
penny?
If
Not a
10,
half
if
penny.
only 10
Well, we
million
got a special
people
deal.
listen, we
Yeah.
can pay for the studio time.
Well, you know what? Let's see if we can't up your game just a little bit. Do you all remember the first time you heard yourself played on the radio? Any chance you were together, or you have a fond memory of the first time you heard your
Well,
band played?
WCNI used to play us a lot,
Yeah.
even the single.
Yeah.
And By the River got played a lot.
Your first song you did today on the
But
show?
like years after we had been playing, one time I was driving home in like the Hartford, Connecticut area, listening
Yeah.
to college radio, and somebody played the B side of our single and goes, "That was the Whales," and I was
Yeah.
like, "That was the best." But I was driving over a big hill,
Oh,
and so
no.
just as it was playing, I was going down the hill and I lost it. But I was like, "I know that song. I know that band."
Well, at least the universe let you hear the first part of it
Yeah.
and knew that it was on.
Yeah.
I do hope that's a thrill. And of course, Dot and I are very fond of WCNI. I think that's why I'm here today. She and I are both DJs, and this is the kind of music we just can't wait to play.
Yeah.
I mean, because we want to be not only supportive, but we want to offer something a little different
Yeah.
that you're not going to find everywhere else. Do you find that the music business has changed so much? And clearly you're in it for a different reason now that perhaps you were back then. Do you find the difference in the joy, or is the core of your joy just still the same when you hit the microphone or you hit the kit? Or
It's kind of the thing of, playing music is just fun.
Yeah.
Playing in a band is even more fun. So, you can play by yourself at your
Yeah.
house and get
Yeah.
some pleasure out of it.
Yeah.
But when you play live, I was listening to a podcast where they were interviewing Jerry Garcia. And he
Yeah.
said, when you make a record in the studio, it's like trying to build a ship in a bottle. But when you're playing live, it's like being out on the ocean in a rowboat. There's no place to hide, you know what I mean? And there's oceans out there, and they're watching you, and it's a whole different feeling to play live. And we've always been more of a live band
Yeah.
than a studio band. But with, I think, age, we've gotten to listen to ourselves play in the studio, and I'm really looking forward to what's coming out.
We don't have weird life preservers anymore.
No, we don't need them. You're whales. Are you kidding me? I
And
love
the
that
thing
you're
about the music business, when you're an independent band like we were in the
Yes.
80s, it was always rough. We were kind of a band out of time. Everything at that time was keyboards and funky hair,
Mm-hmm.
and we were playing kind of straight roots rock, which, came back in the 90s, but
Yeah.
we had moved on by then.
Yeah.
And so we were always just kind of this anachronism.
Yeah,
We were kind
yeah.
of like, we loved it.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people who came to the L&G and whatever, they had a great time.
Yeah.
But we weren't what record producers were looking for. And they could kind of hear our influences and saying, well, that era has happened. We're trying to find the new keyboard player, or the new flock of seagulls.
Well, first of all, I think you are leaders, not followers. And I got to tell you, though, a few little things in there. I heard a little flock of seagulls coming out of these amplifiers or
It's
speakers
the technology
to me.
we have now.
Yeah. I also have to ask, is there a point in the band's future that you might get a top to your instrument here? Or are you working on that? They're giving you piece by piece. Tell me a little bit about the instrument you play.
This is actually a bootlegger spade, and it's not technically
Let's
a
see.
travel guitar,
Okay.
but it's got a full-scale neck, and it fits really nicely in the overhead rack.
Oh, which is
So-
important. You don't
Whereas
wanna- you
I
don't
would
wanna
never
lose
put
sight of
this
them.
one on a plane.
No,
it's
I'm
just,
sure.
This is
Is
a
that a Gretsch?
1967 Gibson ES 335.
Yeah. Oh, just beautiful.
Just had it appraised, and it's worth
Yeah. Well, hopefully, we'll never see him on Antiques Roadshow. That'd be sad. Yeah. Now, are you all multi-instrumental? I mean, are these the instruments that you've just gone through your life with, or is anyone here multi-instrumental?
Some of
Bill.
us more than others. I mean,
Bill plays everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a
plays
solo
everything.
project. I play guitar and sing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're not a bad photographer either.
Yeah, I took the pictures for the back cover of this album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Of the first album. Before I was in the
fact,
band,
that's
I was a
actually how
photographer.
you
That's how we met. I mean, that's how we got to play together.
Yeah.
Is that I was doing a photo shoot for the back cover. The second photo shoot, the drummer wasn't there.
Yeah.
And so then Wayne left after the shoot, and it was just Toe and Eddie and I. We started jamming, and we started a psychedelic instrumental band called the Beads, and we started playing out at the L&G, opening for openers.
Yeah.
At the L&G, and then. At some point, they were getting ready to record the second album, and the drummer couldn't make it.
Right.
And Eddie called me up and said,
Yeah.
"Bill,
Yeah.
you want to join the band and record?" I go, "Yeah." I go, "Yeah, I'd love to." When? He go, "Right now." And I drove to the studio.
Yeah.
It was Arts of Passion Records
Yeah.
that New Johnny Five ran that label,
Yeah.
Press and Prance.
Yeah.
Sure, you were like
And
less than
actually,
24
last
hours.
year's Tower
Yeah.
show, we were trying to get the beads to rejoin.
Yeah.
And I had gone down to New Orleans and then bought them Mardi Gras beads, like the really, good
Real
ones.
ones, yeah.
Everybody had them already. Just wasn't meant to be.
No, well, maybe, everything has
Wasn't
its
meant to
time.
be.
Yeah, to bead. Yeah, absolutely. This just flew right out of my head after I heard New Orleans. I'm sorry, my head just went literally right
Nola.
down to Frenchman Street. Going forward, now you were talking your solo stuff. I'm just curious, with each project, you must do other things, especially living further apart. Is it ever difficult as you're getting inspiration or a thought to think, well, this is more, the whales, or maybe this is just a poem, or
That's
perhaps
always difficult. Yeah. 'Cause,
Yeah.
whenever I write a song, you go, "Oh, this really works for Blonde Furniture." And Matt and I have a band in LA as well, so
Yes.
maybe this works for HS.
Yeah, we
which-
play at least one acoustic act in Los Angeles.
Really?
Early in the summer, yeah.
Wow.
So I never know. Yeah, we never know if. In fact, Matt wrote a song that he thinks is good for us, for the Whales. So we're going to actually do that for the first time today.
That's one thing about the Whales. We've always let our musicians see other bands.
Yeah.
We didn't have this possessive thing. You can go
You're
see
an
that
open band,
Just
Mary.
come back. Just
Yeah.
come back and play what you
Yeah.
do for the Whales.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's terrific. I'm not sure how much more time we have. I want to make sure that we're keep rolling here because we're going to get treated to another song. When you put together your playlist, or your set list rather, I'm the playlist, you're the set list. Is it ever difficult to cull through your catalog and pick which one or do you need to feel the audience out a little bit and see
Yeah,
what
it's
they're...
tough. Over the years, we've had so many set lists.
Yeah.
And I usually start it and I send it out there, and then I get the feedback. And no, not that song there. Put it earlier. Put it later. I don't think about how hard it is for Bill to play the drums on a song. I just know what it's like to play guitar.
Yeah.
And Bill will say, I can't do that song there and then do another song right after it.
Yeah.
So
You're receptive to feedback
Yeah.
too, which is something I'm not used to at all.
yeah.
I'm used to band leaders who are like totally dictatorial.
Yeah.
Toe made the comment back in the 80s that because we all had our day lives and our night lives, that we could play indefinitely. And I think we have. Here we are in our 60s still playing.
That's a beautiful
And
thing.
it's a lot of the same vibe that we had back then, but, we've changed it up.
Yeah. Speaking of change it up and then and now, we've gone through this, I call it a reset. And if you've been in the music business for any time, you've definitely seen a time where it's really difficult to get people out, to get into the seats in the clubs. And I'm wondering, not just with the reset, but going back to the day, back in the day in the 80s, what you see from the audiences that would come out and see you play. And I realize we're a little more seasoned, so
Yeah.
we move a little different. But do you see a difference in whether more people are, before maybe it was a lot of raucous drinking and rocking out, but now it's more of a listening room kind of thing. We want to concentrate a little more. What is your opinion on that what you see with your audiences?
There's a lot, especially after COVID. It's really
Yeah.
difficult getting people to come out, especially people our age to come out. And a lot of times my friends will say, "What time are you playing?" I said, "Well, probably 10 o'clock." "Oh, I'm in bed by 10
Yeah.
o'clock." It's like the early,
Is that 10
early-
o'clock p.m.?
Yeah.
This is why we have Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks.
Yes,
It's
yes.
like you drink the coffee, you stay up.
Yes, for days sometimes
Yeah.
for some of us.
I'm really worried people aren't going to show up. Enough people are going to show up because it takes a certain amount of people to make a venue happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if enough people if not enough people show up, you wonder, well, can we take the chance?
So
to
they
do
better
it
show
again?
up.
So
Yeah.
Every year it's like, can we do it? I always ask at the end of the
Bill,
Towers
Bill talk
night,
right into the camera and ask
Yeah.
them to come.
Please, well, yeah.
Well, absolutely, and it's
Tell
just
them, don't ask them.
yeah, it
And what
is
are we charging, Bill?
$5.
Oh, my goodness.
such a deal.
I know.
That's what the LNG used to charge back in the 80s was $5.
Right,
So that's
right.
we were trying to.
But you'll take more if someone feels so
we're gonna have a
inclined
tip
that wants to
bucket.
support.
None of that money goes to the band.
Yeah.
It goes to the hygienic, and the bands won't get anything unless if anybody throws money in a tip bucket up on the stage. But that's about it.
Which is really important. And this really, I think, bears stating that we just saw this incredible music. And in the Northeast, if you've spent any time listening to music or clearly playing music, there's an incredible wealth of talent. I mean, per square inch in this area.
Amazing.
It really is.
And I just think it's important for people to remember that because, they see someone come into a stadium and you pay hundreds of dollars. Look this is incredible talent. So it's so important to support our local artists. And if we don't, they're not going to be coming out to play. It's important. So we do hope that they continue to come out, get in that, and then tell a friend and bring a friend back next time. All right. I think we're going to get ready to wrap.
Oh, and thank you for everything you
Oh,
do.
it's my
You're so much to
pleasure.
Promote music and
My
And
pleasure.
get well, Dot.
Absolutely.
Dot's work is
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah.
Let's thank Dot, and I want to thank her for allowing me to come in today to be with this band. It was an absolute thrill. We're both on WCNI 90.9 FM, and also we're both writers for Soundwaves. So just keep following her around, and look at this. Today now I've got her mic in my hand. We're going to let the guys play us out. Thank y'all so much. Good luck with the towers and everything. You don't need luck. Y'all got skills. So just enjoy.
All right.
Thank
this
you
one's
again
called
for having
Left
me.
to Right.
Okay, let's see if we got audio.
20 years ago, a boy was in college. He was a rider, coat, spent his daddy's dollars, wanted what's right, all that was left. And he joined in the fight, and you know the rest. Grew up with the Beatles, and he rocked to the Stones, rocking out time.
the beat of his soul? Or was he doing what he wanted? Or was he just here to fight? Was that all? Left to right? Was that all? Left to right? 20 years later, now he wears a tie. He thinks about the past and he wonders why. He's got a good job, so does his wife, but they still can't live daddy's kind of life. Reads the bad news and puts the past on the shelf. He's got money he earned for himself. Here's the classic rock and roll. Thinks about the fight. Was that all? That's left to right. Was that all? Left to right. Yeah. That's all. Well, baby, that's all. Left to right. Left to right. Left to right. Left to right. We still got more left to right. Left to right. Left to right. We still got more left to right.